Hello, hello, hello. This is really cool. Thank God. God has given me the opportunity to go live. As you can tell, we're in the beginning stages. I feel like this is old-fashioned television here. But I'm just going to say what I got to say. And it looks like if you're with me here, you can ask a question and I'll be happy to answer. And so here's the story. Everything that exists in the universe, there is a positive and a negative. So what is the positive of this coronavirus? And the positive, I believe, is in three things. The first thing is I'm absolutely certain, the thing that God wants most, I'm a parent, I want it most for my children, and I'm sure every parent wants it for their children, is that their children should have unity. Now, the funny thing about life is that unity, in fact, there's a study, I think it's through, not Pew, it's Gallup. And basically, this very interesting study about kind of the kindest nations. They have 5 factors. In fact, it's nice to say that America comes out second. But the story is that Afghanistan, and one of the factors of strangers helping strangers, comes out remarkably kind of maybe the highest. And the reason for that is because, was it Afghanistan or Libya? Maybe it was Libya. But there's a war going on there. And so basically people are in desperate straits. And so ironically, when things are bad, we become a lot more aware of the other and more willing to help. And so the flip side, unfortunately, the problem of negativity is that, sorry, not the problem of negativity, I got distracted. The problem of prosperity is often what people do when they're prosperous is they start to get more self-absorbed. Instead of thinking about the other, there's a famous story of a great rabbi who saw someone who was very, very kind and very hospitable. And so what he did is he gave him a blessing to be rich, and the guy becomes rich. And then he comes and suddenly he sees that he's not so hospitable. So he scratched off a little bit of his mirror, and he says to him, "What do you see?" He says, "Well, I see myself." Then he takes him to the window. He says, "What do you see?" "Well, I see the people outside." Then he comes to the mirror, and he scratched off some of the silver. And he says, "What do you see now?" He says, "Well, I see through it." So he says, "Well, why is it that this mirror and the window are both made of glass? And one you only see yourself, and the other you're seeing others?" And he said, "Because there's silver." So sometimes when we get prosperity, it's not that we're bad, it's just that we become self-absorbed. And then the more we have an ego, the less compassionate, the less we see the other. And again, ironically, it's just that we're too self-absorbed to see the needs of the other. Usually a person has to be a fellow sufferer to care about those suffering. And so I think that the coronavirus is showing the world something very important, that we're all in this boat together. Recently, the chief rabbi of Israel, who's a Holocaust survivor, spoke to, there were 40 world leaders that came to Israel for the, I think it was the 65th or maybe 75th anniversary of the Auschwitz redemption. And he said, all the animals in Noah's Ark, they all got along. Why? Because they were all in the same boat. This world is one big boat. God forbid one little virus. There are times in history, it will never be repeated. But the Black Plague, wiped off maybe half of the humanity or something, certainly in Europe. The point is, let us be humble. Let us care about the other. And no country should imagine that they are immune. Sometimes countries become powerful, and it seems to me that certain countries, they became arrogant. They're like, we're going to bully our way into taking over other countries and things like that. That is not the way of God. God wants us to love, to be kind, And ultimately, and this is the bottom line take-home message, is we have to choose to do that on our own. God could, God forbid, create crisis that will make us realize we're all one, but the goal is to realize without the crisis and to motivate yourself to work in goodness and kindness forever.